we're going to talk about turbocharging CMDB to address the dynamic challenges of the evolving attack surface. For our first session of the day, I am proud to introduce Qualys's very own president and CEO, Sumedh Thakar, for the keynote session. He'll discuss the critical imperative of turbocharging the CMDB with cyber risk context, allowing organizations to reduce cyber risk while limiting business disruption, and why addressing the broken CMDB needs to be step zero in one's cybersecurity strategy. Sumedh, take it away.
Thank you so much, Shira. I think you did a really good job at framing the conversation and the debate that we're going to have all day. I really find that fascinating. All of you are here because the topic of the CMDB being broken actually resonates really well with everybody. And this is something that in the last 20 years that I've been cybersecurity, one of the thing that everybody agrees on is they don't have a good CMDB, and their CMDB is always broken. And that's the reason why, as part of the Cyber Risk series, we really decided to take this topic up. It's not a topic that a lot of people have conversations about, but I really do feel that given that your CMDB, your asset management, and having a strong asset management is step zero of your security program. You cannot have a good security program if you don't know your assets. And so a step zero of any strong cybersecurity program has to be a strong asset management capability. And traditionally, we always rely on the CMDB as the starting point and as the place where we expect to have all of our assets in there. And it's typically a IT tool, which is built for a different use case for IT in terms of being able to track asset life cycle, some of the ownership information, but just warranty management and things like that. It is not meant really for a always up-to-date view on your cybersecurity assets. And this is the reason why cybersecurity teams really always need a asset management capability that is for them. It is a different type of asset discovery, asset management capability, because if you don't know your asset, you really cannot protect that asset. And if you know an asset, at least you can do something about it. You can put some controls on it. But if you don't know your assets, you just really cannot put an asset management program in place. And a lot of times we talk to customers, we really see that over 30-40% of the assets in their environment are not visible to them through the CMDB. And this is a big number. And a lot of times cybersecurity teams will say, oh, well, asset management, that's an IT problem or that's an IT job. And I think the issue with that, and all of you who are in cybersecurity will agree, that if there is a breach because of an unknown asset or because the CMDB is not updated, I don't think that the IT person is raising their hand and saying, hey, I'm sorry, I did not tell security about this asset, and that's why the breach happened. It's always the security team, the security leadership, the CISO, who is in the forefront of explaining to the board, to the media, to the press, to the SEC, why a particular breach happened, when the original problem really was that the IT team did not do a good job of giving an entire list of assets that really you should have visibility into from a cybersecurity program perspective. And this is a challenge that we really saw a few years ago, and very exciting for us 3 years ago when I was up here in this room really launching our cybersecurity asset management capability, which is really a tool very specifically for asset management for cybersecurity teams. And we have had absolutely amazing, fantastic uptake by our customers in terms of feedback, in terms of adoption of this capability, because they really cannot do anything in terms of being able to have a strong security program if they really don't know what type of assets that they have. And so security teams tend to then try to buy one-off tools, siloed tools, to try to fill the gap. And sometimes they will go buy a EASM product and an external attack surface management product just to know their unknown external assets. And and they really don't have a good way to know all their unknown internal assets. And even if you know your assets, they don't really have a good list of the software inventory, right? Just knowing your asset, of the existence of a physical asset is not enough. You need to know what is running on those assets so you can prioritize these assets. You can really mark these assets in a way, because we are all at the point where there are too many assets, too many findings, too many vulnerabilities. And so the limited resources that we have for cybersecurity need to be focused on the most critical assets. And in there lies the definition of what is a critical asset. And that can only be determined if you know where the asset sits and what is actually running and installed on that asset, because that is what is going to decide if this asset is critical or not. And so we have all these different challenges, and a big part of what adds risk to any infrastructure from a cybersecurity perspective is end-of-life software and end-of-service software. And a lot of this information is not available in the CMDB. It's not updated in the CMDB. Assets are updated in the CMDB very periodically. I always give this example. When I was a developer, the moment they gave me a new Windows laptop and made an entry in the CMDB was a Windows laptop, I turned around and installed Linux on it and changed everything on it. And so I was getting pinged by the IT team saying, hey, why are you not deploying your Windows patches? And reality was that the asset had changed and the CMDB wasn't updated with that information. So for us to, as an industry, to truly have a very strong asset management program which is powering the step zero of cybersecurity, there needs to be a comprehensive way in which we can really look at all of our external assets, the known unknown external assets, all of our known unknown internal assets, bringing all of them together into a single platform, being able to inventory all of the software that is running on these assets, being able to analyze all the different types of software that are running on that, what is end-of-life software, end-of-service software, which is really your technology debt. How much technology debt do you have? If your production environment has 50% of the software installed on it already end of life, then you are already walking into a situation that happened with Log4j, where 50% of the software that had Log4j was end of life, which means the vendor was not going to give you a patch. So the question is, do you have visibility into your technology debt to do a better job in cybersecurity, so you don't get stuck into a situation where you have issues that you really cannot remediate because you're not going to get this information from your vendor because it's already end of life software, as an example. So sometimes you find browsers that are installed on servers or on databases because the admin at some point wanted to install the browser for something and they forgot about it. We run into this all the time. And so the concept of authorized, unauthorized software is really something that you want to look at your CMDB to say, can I have an up-to-date list of all the software that is running? And how does the CMDB know that? They don't have a way of knowing what's actually running on your asset, because that is important to know if you're running any unauthorized software on your systems, right? That may not be a malicious software, but if a browser is an unauthorized software on a server or database, that's something that as a policy should be flagged. Are you running any unauthorized ports? Many times, are you missing software that should be on a particular asset from a cybersecurity perspective? Are you missing the right protections and the controls that you need to have? You're missing a file integrity monitoring agent on an asset that is running a software that is a PCI payment software, as an example. So there's so much that goes into really figuring out the risk that comes to your environment, the cybersecurity risk, just by analyzing your inventory. And that really is the starting point of any cybersecurity program. And so when your CMDB is not updated and when your CMDB is broken, which is pretty much the case for every single one of you, I don't think any one of you can raise their hand and say that their CMDB is not broken. And that's why you're here, because it is broken. But if you don't have a CMDB that is updated and up to date and is giving you your external attack information, your internal attack surface, your end-of-life technology debt, your authorized, unauthorized software, etc., then you really cannot do a good job of remediating and mitigating things. In our conversations with multiple customers who are using ServiceNow and Qualys together as an example, what came out was the interesting side effect of updating your CMDB to the most accurate information continuously was how fast they were able to remediate their IT tickets. So we saw many times that customers' ticket resolution time for their IT tickets dropped by half because the debate that was happening between the IT teams or the owners of the asset. Oh, I don't have this software. Oh, but the CMDB is showing that you're running this particular software. That debate went away because the CMDB was always up to date. So when the CMDB is up to date, not only are you doing a good job at your cybersecurity program, you're also actually benefiting your enterprise by reducing the amount of time it is taking to get tickets resolved, which is essentially helping with your remediation, not just your cybersecurity remediation, but your IT remediation as well. And so we're pretty excited today to have all of you here to join us in having a conversation of this extremely important topic and being part of this debate. And I'm really excited today to have conversations about technology that we are going to have an open source standard that is coming along for that, talking about how external attack surface management can be actually integrated directly with your CMDB, and it needs to be integrated with your CMDB. How can you leverage the software that you already have to discover additional assets in your network without deploying passive scanners on your tap ports, etc., which is a huge operational issue that you have to run into? How can you proactively track your technology debt out of your CMDB so that you can actually be partners with the IT team and with the business, and so you can look forward to know which software is going end of life in the next 30, 60, 90 days, so you can actually do a proactive job of reducing that risk by having a plan in place to replace this software as needed. How do you make sure that even though you may not have vulnerabilities on those assets, you're not running things that should not be there? You may have a software, a P2P software or a chat software or install in an asset that does not have any software vulnerability. However, just the fact that that software is running on that asset can add risk to your environment. And so you need tools that center around that CMDB that are actually going to provide you the ability to look at all of these things, track all of these things, and then from there you build a very strong security program on top of that. And so I'm looking forward to Pablo and Kunal as they're going to go step by step, explaining how some organizations that we work with have been successful in having a always updated CMDB. And so it is really about how do we go from a never up to date to an always up to date CMDB, which is really the crux of the conversation today. And I really hope that you enjoy this conversation and you walk away from this conversation really having a better idea of how you can be successful in updating your CMDB to the latest information in a continuous manner, and I hope that actually helps you with improving your security program. So I want to thank all of you for your time, and I look forward to the questions and the comments and the rest of the presentations that we're doing today. Thank you very much.